Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today we're looking at the Traska Commuter. Now this one here has the Glacier white dial. But before we get into the watch, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So you have a simple white cardboard box, and there's a sleeve outside of this box. And inside of that, you get this nice leather travel pouch, and it has a sleeve. Not a sleeve, but a card that the watch goes on. So the watch sits on there so the back doesn't scratch up the case and vice versa. And it is stamped with the Traska logo here. I do like their logo. So let's get this out of the way and we can take a closer look at the watch. So again, this is the Traska Commuter, and this one is with the Glacier white dial. It also comes with a green dial and a black dial. I think the green dial is called Forest Green or something like that. Price tag on this is $565. You can order this direct from the Traska website. I will leave a link in the description below. So I do like this watch. It looks very nice. It's a nice size. I really like the crystal on this. There's just something about this top hat crystal. I like how the edges are rounded over. And believe it or not, this is actually a double dome crystal. It has a very slight dome to it. But I just really like the look of this crystal. The dial is a very nice looking, it's almost like a pearlescent dial. They call it a sunburst dial. But I did find myself getting lost in this dial a few times. It has applied indices, printed logo, a framed in date window. We'll zoom in a bit here, get a closer look. Again with a nice logo there at the 12 o'clock. A date down there at the 6. I've become more and more of a fan of watches without date windows. But if you're going to put a date window on a watch, I guess 6 o'clock is the way to do it. And then my second choice would be 3 o'clock. And then maybe 4 o'clock position. And then I've also seen 4:30, but 4:30 date position really bugs me. So anyway, let's zoom back out a bit here. You see it has a sign crown. There's a Traska logo here again on the crown. Drilled lugs. The case is a nice mix of brushed and polished surfaces. The corners are polished. The edge of the bezel here is polished. It's really well done. And being Traska, this has the scratch resistant coating on the case and the bracelet clasp as well. So let's talk about the dimensions before I forget. The lug to lug on this is nice and small at 44. Some dive watches have a diameter of 44, so really nice and compact. The case diameter is 36.5. The thickness, Traska measure the thickness from the bevel here to the bottom of the case. So from this point here down to here, and they measure that at 10. If you include the crystal, it's 11.2 to the top of the dome here. Again, the very slight dome. The bracelet starts at 20 and tapers down very nicely to 16. The clasp, it almost feels too small for me. I'm not used to having such a narrow clasp on a watch. Just have a double deployant pusher here. 4 micro adjusts. Now, I did notice one issue with this watch is the clasp is not easy to remove from the wrist. Right there, I didn't have any issue with it, but when it is on wrist, yeah, actually right here, I have it pressed and it's not coming apart. I don't know if maybe the slot isn't lined up perfectly. I'm not sure what's going on, but eventually I can get it off wrist. So anyway, this portion here has some finishing work here. Looks very nice. You wouldn't expect to see it inside of a clasp like this. So that is neat to see. And it says milled, obviously. Solid links, solid end links. And it does have the female end link here. So the lug-to-lug is not extended by a fixed center link. So very well done. This would work great for, I say probably down to a 6-inch wrist or maybe even smaller. I have a 6.5-inch wrist. I'll put this on wrist right now. And sometimes it feels a little tight. It does slide around a bit this size, but once I've had it on for maybe half an hour or so, it feels really tight for whatever reason. But here it is on my 6.5-inch wrist. We'll zoom out in a moment here, but I think it looks good on my wrist. Again, 44 millimeter lug to lug. And my wristband is about 52. So just a nice looking vintage, I'll call it a vintage inspired watch. It does have a screw down crown as well. And that gives you 100-meter water resistance. So you can kind of see again what I'm talking about with this clasp here. It takes a little bit for it to get off wrist. Crown on this, 5.8 millimeter crown. It does have AR coating applied to the underside of the crystal here. It has the Miyota 9019 movement. It is an automatic movement, of course. Does not have a display case back. The case back is pretty simple, which is fine. You know, a simple box, simple case back, which I would think lowers the price of the watch. I know this is a $565 watch, but you do get the scratch coating. You get that quality Miyota movement, the 9015 movement. The nice crystal here. Very nice dial with the hand applied indices. Applied indices. So I think there's a good amount of value to this watch here. Maybe a little small for your liking, but for a smaller wrist, I think it works great. So I think those are all the specs I wanted to cover. We did the wrist shot. If you have not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Like the video. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of this watch. We can look at the case back real quick. It's kind of plain looking, but it does say on the back, stainless steel, 316L, Traska. We get a nice look at the finishing on the clasp here. I'm surprised that they did that, but it looks really nice. 100-meter water resistant. And right here, it is a serialized case back, so that's a nice touch. Most of these watches aren't serialized. I mean, Seiko watches are not serialized unless they're a limited edition. So most companies will not serialize a watch like this. So very nicely done. Oh, let's look at the links here. I just want to show you the simple screw links. So screw head on this side, which then has threads on this side. Nice and easy, nothing too complicated. It's pretty simple to size this watch. You can kind of get a feel of the coating here. Looks like right here it's not coated, and then the rest of it is coated. I haven't had one of these long term. I have not worn one long term, so I don't know how well this coating holds up, but I have seen some videos where people scratch it, and it does a good job at preventing scratches. So let's pause the video, and then we can check out the Lume together. Sorry, I forgot to compare this to my Seiko SKX just for a size comparison. And then we'll check out the Lume of both of these here together. So SKX is 42 by 46. And this guy again is 44 by 36.5. So let's look at the thicknesses real quick. SKX is about 13.5 versus 11.2. Also, you can get a sense of the color of this watch, the color of the metal with that coating applied. So, all right, let's pause the video and we'll check out the Lume this time. All right, so on the left, we obviously have the Traska Commuter. On the right, my SKX009. The Lume on the Traska is not as bright as it looks like on camera. The Lume's okay. It's more of a dress style watch anyway. It's not a dive watch. And when I was hitting it with a UV light, it looked like the Lume was a different color on the hands than the indices. I don't know if it looks like that by eye or not. Maybe you can see on the camera here. The Lume is definitely brighter on the hands than the indices. So let me hit it with UV light again and see if we can see a color difference in the Lume. The hands look blue under the UV light, and then the indices look green. But yeah, I think that's true. So anyway, let me know in the comment section what you think of this watch. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.